Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to High Media TV. I am your host, Evan from High Media TV, and welcome back to High Media Headlines for today, September the 24th, 2025. Got a quick show for you today. Let's get right into it now, shall we? Question, ladies and gentlemen. If you buy gold with real money from somebody, and then that gold is then used to buy a magic sword, does the person who you sold that person a magic sword have to pay taxes on it? Yeah, I know. Absolute goofy goober ass behavior. The reason I am bringing this up is because out of the European Union is currently wrestling with this at the moment. Specifically, on September 11th, the big funny day, Advocate General at the Court of Justice of the European Union, Julaine Kokot, issued an opinion requesting a preliminary ruling from the Tax Disputes Commission under the government of... I don't give a fuck about any of that. Basically, the case is she's asking a question of whether or not um countries can charge tax if you sell RuneScape gold to somebody for real money. Now, granted, that I think is fair. Like if you sell somebody RuneScape gold, yeah, you should probably pay taxes on that. I mean it's not illegal. It's against Jagex's terms of service, but it's not illegal. The problem is that she then posits further, if that is the case, why not charge people taxes on the things, on like vendors in game, on gold they receive that was bought with real world money? Okay. So first things first, this I feel my hatred of America, of my country, of my home country, leaving my body in this moment, and the spirit of some libertarian Republican coming in. Because what the flying fat fuck do you mean taxing a magic sword I bought in a video game just because some chuckle fuck who bought it from me bought their gold with real world money? I feel like I understand why Ron Swanson hates Europe and calls it a garbage continent. And also, I want to reiterate, Europe is not a fucking continent. It is a subcontinent of Asia, and the only reason we call it Europe a continent is because Europeans are little special snowflakes who don't want to be associated with all the brown people in Asia. But I digress. This is dumb, and I I I'm hopeful that this is just going to be treated like a silly little funny, like a simple, goofy little goober thing that means absolutely nothing, and people end up ignoring it. Because if this is something that ever gets any level of traction whatsoever, we might have to have this revolutionary war over again. I think that we genuinely need to consider the level of insanity and ostentate. Like, listen, while I commend the European Union for generally holding big businesses to account on a much better way, and not being as tolerant of, right-wing slop, I will say that there are times where where European Euroids will say things that make me just revert, like, to my swamp hick roots on the fucking Chesapeake and Southern Maryland, and just revile government in a way that does not align with my politics whatsoever. But this, I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, is some of the most dumb shit I have heard all week. And that includes, by the way, RFK Jr. saying that Tylenol causes autism. And the fact that people thought that the rapture was happening yesterday. So that's where I'm at. Anywho, ladies and gentlemen, moving on to the MB&E index. The MB&E index is how we here at HIMediaTV gauge the health of the American economy by looking at the store brand price of milk, bread, and eggs from major American retailers. The current MB&E index stands at $9.96, with Aldi's price at $7.27, ShopRite at $11.88, and Walmart at $7.02. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for listening to this episode of High Media Headlines for today, September the 24th, 2025. We appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your listenership. And if you want more, please catch our updates from the last few days. All interesting stuff. And all of our other podcasts where we were at himedia.gg/pods or wherever you get your pods. And if and only if you can afford to do so, please consider subscribing on our Ko-Fi for $3 or buying a Twitch sub/Prime sub and to support us. Doing either will get you access to a huge amount of awesome perks that can be found in our Discord, which you should join at the link down below. And we appreciate and it is very much appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening to High Media Headlines for today, September the 24th, 2025. We appreciate you, your time, and your listenership. Have a wonderful day.